Hello Aromas, this is Aromie here and welcome back to our life. We are now going to be moving on to the dinner moment, so I hope it's a dinner with Cove and his family, but it might not be. Sunlight shone through the windows as you sat in your living room, your home phone pressed to your ear. Cove was on the other end. It'd been shaping up to be an ordinary day like any other, until Cove had called unexpectedly. He sounded unusually nervous greeting you. He listened silently as he kept talking, his words stilted. So I was just wondering. Wait, do you want to come over to my house for dinner tonight? The question came out strangely, almost like he'd rehearsed it a few times beforehand. Yo, can you imagine? That would be the cutest thing. Your eyes widened a little. You hadn't expected this to be the reason behind the call. Yeah, I'll go. I can't. You kept listening. Should I keep listening for him to explain further? Cove continued. His next words sounded rehearsed too, and tinged with nervousness. My mom and dad, they really want you to be there. If your parents don't have a problem with it, they asked me to ask you. It took a moment to think. Dinner at home would be quiet and uneventful today. If you really wanted to, you could go to Cove's instead. Cove spoke up again, breaking your thought train. His voice was softer than before. Also, I want you to be there too. Can you come over, I mean? Oh, this is so much better. Yeah, I can come. I have to ask my mom and then get back to you. No, I can't make it. Why am I the only one invited, or do you mean the whole family? Why am I the only No? Yeah, I can come. Thanks, Michiko. I'll let them know when I can. He sounded noticeably relieved by your response. Was you coming over for a dinner today that's serious? He spoke to you for a little while longer to explain what time to come over and other details, then hung up. Me not asking my parents once again, or telling my parents anything once again. And that was that for now anyway. Soon enough, the sun dipped out of the sky and evening came. It was time for you to head to Cove's house. After letting Elizabeth know letting Elizabeth know you were leaving, she didn't look away from the TV, just grunted and you made the small journey across the street. You knocked a couple times on the heavy door to their condo. As you waited for an answer, you found yourself contemplating being a guest while both Cove's parents were there. It was exciting, you're apprehensive, the idea made you curious, you didn't think it would be especially interesting, you could say you were thrilled. The idea made me curious. You wondered why they decided to invite you out of the blue. You'd find out later tonight. You didn't give too much time with your thoughts though. The door opened soon enough. Cove's mom, Kyra, stood in the frame, smiling warmly at you.
Come on.
Hey, Michiko, welcome. Please come on in. Oh, it's so fancy in here. Wow, it's like so warm. She opened the door wider and moved to make room. You stepped inside, allowing her to shut it behind you. Thanks so much for coming over. I know it was kind of last second. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Just make yourself at home. It's not my home, but I've been given permission to say that. Hey, Michiko. Welcome to our humble abode. Wow, it's been I've never been here. How many years? 5 years since you guys lived here, and I've never been to this house. Or that I know of. You jerked your head towards the sound of Mr. Holden's voice. He waved at you briefly from the kitchen with his back turned and a large spoon in hand. Hope you're hungry because I'm whipping up a lot of tasty stuff. Is there a reason why I'm here, though? True to his word, you heard something sizzling on the stove. You closed your eyes and inhaled. It smelled spicy and savory. With Mr. Holden busy and Cove nowhere to be seen, it was just you and Kyra. She gave you a wry smile. He sure is. Well, I've been barred from cooking the entire time and staying here. Can you believe that? She nudged you with an elbow. Mr. Holden scoffed with good-natured blade, then spoke from over his shoulder. You're on vacation, Kyra. You need to stop that already. She yelled back, amusement obvious on her face and in her tone. People still cook when they're on vacation. Everyone's gotta eat. It's not like I'm some celebrity who can go out for every meal or hire a private chef.
Sorry.
Well, in this house, you're a VIP. Aw, they're so cute together, but not together, because stuff happened, I guess. Kyra smiled and shook her head quietly. Then she turned to face you once more. Sorry about that, Michiko. Here I was, trying to strike up a conversation with you, and Cliff just had to butt in. I don't butt in! She eyed him, chuckling disbelief. He wasn't exactly disproving her point with that. Kyra leaned over to whisper to you. It's okay, he likes to be included, but since Clifford insisted on cooking all by himself, he'll have to wait. The two of us can chat. Her next question continued to be said in a hushed tone, just to be safe.
So?
How are you doing? I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm good. Things are okay. I'm not really sure. You didn't reply to her answer. Whoa, imagine choosing this. I'm doing good. That's what I like to hear. She opened her mouth to say something more, but some slightly pounding footsteps caught your attention. You checked to see Cove emerge from the hall a few moments later. He might have heard all the commotion and left his room to see what was going on. He quickly took stock of the situation. Michiko, you made it. Thanks for coming. Cove's voice was unnaturally loud, as if he thought you wouldn't be able to hear him from where you were, only a few feet away. Hi, Cove. You doing okay? Yeah, I'm fine. You sure? He didn't sound convincing at all. You narrowed your eyes suspiciously, but didn't call him out on it. If you could talk to him alone tonight, maybe you'd ask him what was going on then. It was when you glanced away from Cove that you spotted his parents watching the TV interact. Excuse me? Are we your entertainment? Cove noticed their stares too, meeting them with narrowed eyes. Are we having dinner now? Not yet, but I'm still cooking. Alright, I'm gonna go back to my room. As he turned to leave, he bent his head to the side to face you. You coming? Oh! Okay. The question was quiet, but you heard it clearly. You smiled, pleased that he asked, and nodded in the affirmative. First time seeing Cove's room. Let's go. Cove turned fully and made his way down the hall. Have fun, you two. We'll call you when food's ready to go. I thought they were gonna be like, make sure the door is open. With that, you followed after Cove as you made your way down the hall. This was the first time you were invited to see Cove's room. You had visited Cove's room before, but only rarely. Going over to Cove's room was a standard occurrence. No, this is the first time. Cove got to the door first, obviously. You opening it and stepping inside. You joined him. Look at his room. Look at all the fishies. And the little, this little seashell collection. Oh, Cove. Your room is much cooler than mine. And I feel like it's bigger, actually. There was a mat on the floor in front of the door. As you stepped over the threshold into this room, you felt the crunch of sand beneath your feet. Sand? There is sand! Cove! What is this? Is this a underground? Is this a hidden, I don't know. You glanced down. Sand was clustered around the entrance. You even spotted smaller amounts of it dusting the rest of the room's floor. Though you hadn't anticipated it, you weren't surprised at the sight. Of course, Beach Boy Cove Holden would get his room all sandy. So, this is my room. Nice. You have some boxes up here. You guys can't see because I'm covering it, but let me move myself so you can see. Right there. He has boxes. Are you not done moving? Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Cove was a bit shy as he said so, fidgeting with the hem of his shirt using one hand and vaguely gesturing to the space with the other. There's stuff you can sit on, if you want. He looked over at the desk chair as an option. When you turned back, Cove was already sitting on the edge of his large bed. Are you trying to make your own beach with all this sand? It's nice. Thanks for letting me come over. You weren't sure what to do. What should I say? Should I joke around? Should I thank him or compliment his room? I mean, I guess I did say his room was nice first of all, so it's nice. Cove's chest puffed out. Oh, cute. As he sat up straighter and smiled. Thanks. Dad helped me put stuff up, but I chose what to have and where. That's cool. You didn't sit anywhere, you sat down in the chair. Wait, I'm sitting next to him. Cove smiled when you made yourself at home beside him. Because he is my home. You grinned back. With the silence growing, your gaze began to drift. You stared at the bright fish swimming in the tank. There were a bunch of them, floating to and fro in the open space. They stood out starkly against the green aquarium and plants. How long have you had those fish?
Yes.
My dad bought them for me not very long after I moved here. I guess it's been years now. Wow, that's a long time. You peer carefully into the tank. Oh, did I get up? The fish looked to be doing well. You must take good care of them. Most of them were small, but there was one especially big one. What are their names? I don't name them. Well, not really. He lifted an eyebrow at that. He continued the explanations sheepishly.
I mean,
mostly I just call them things based on what they look like. Squirt for a small one, tangerine for a really orange one, that sort of thing. I've had a lot of fish, and I'm not that good at coming up with names. You found that funny, you found that surprising, you found that relatable. Found it funny. Who knew that was a weakness of his? It was an entertaining revelation. Oh, a couple of them have other types of names. He pointed to a small orangish red fish. It was minding its own business away from the others. My dad named her Dreamcatcher, and the other one's Mark. Mom came up with that one. Cove smiled to himself, his eyes reflecting the glow from the tank. Let other people name your fish.
it's nice.
Yeah. He then turned to Hugh, tilting his head to the side. There was a considering look on his face. Do you want to name one? He's so cute. Can I? Yeah, I do. No thanks. Can I? His smile grew a little at your interest. Sure. There's a few who don't have names right now, the newer ones. You can pick which you want to name. He pointed each of the recent acquisitions out to you. The first was the smallest fish in the tank. It was completely orange and zipped all over the place, running laps around the others. The second was slightly bigger and red. The tail was dotted with black spots, which almost resembled freckles. The last fish was the biggest one. Its multicolored scale rippled under the bright light of the tank, and as it slowly made its way across the vast expanse, you went with the biggest fish, because you know he'll always see that fish first. Cove only nodded at your answer, waiting on you to decide on a suitable name. You watched the fish you chose carefully. As you did, a name eventually came to you. Frank Sunbeam. Is that Jill or Gil? Name it after me? Hell no. Cove. Frank would be such a funny name. I don't think we should name the fish after Cove, because what if the fish dies and it's like Cove died? We're gonna name it. I mean, we can also type in our own answer, but I literally don't know what to call it. So we're gonna name it. Oh, can we name? Wait, Sunbeam? Should it be Sunbeam? I kind of want to name it Sunshine. Let's do Sunshine. Bubble. Bubble was the first option. Sunshine. Let's name it Sunshine. All right, it's Sunshine. That's so cute that we're able to name it ourselves if we didn't like any of those options. With that, his attention moved from you to the tank. He peered fondly at its inhabitants. He smiled proudly at Sunshine as it swam through the tendrils of the plants, disappearing then reappearing soon after. You know, I'm not allowed to have pets in my house, not even fish. The corners of Cove's lips turned down at that. That doesn't sound fair. It's not like fish would make a mess of your house or anything. You just gotta take care of their tank and feed them and they'll be okay. Right? My moms can be strict over the weirdest things sometimes. I don't mind it too much. I get it. Like, my dad would let me have a fish as well. He just didn't want me to have actual, like a dog or a cat. But he allowed me to have fish. So, why are my moms so strict? They trust Elizabeth and me to go around the neighborhood alone, but they won't let us have a pet. It doesn't make sense. But that is another mouth to feed, and that's more responsibility to have a pet. Unless you know it's fish. Maybe when you're even older, they'll let you. I don't know. They seem pretty against it. Your current conversation brought to mind a memory from years ago. You launched into it without any warning, earning you a brief, confused look from Cove. One time, Elizabeth, came back from playing at the beach and just shut herself in her room. She only came down for food, and then she ran back upstairs straight after. It was kind of weird. My mom didn't think much of it at first, though. But then that night, Mom went to her room to say goodnight and started screaming. Mom and I ran over to see what happened. Lizzie had this huge lizard in her arms. Cove's eyebrows rose at that, and he leaned forward in interest. A lizard? Where'd that come from? Elizabeth said she saw it half buried in the sand and didn't know what it was. Then she pulled it out and got the answer, so she brought it home. Elizabeth is so bold to have a lizard. She hid the lizard in her room for most of the day because she wanted to keep it. Mom and Mom were not happy. They worried about putting it out during the night, but she was going to have to let it go in the morning. Lizzie was really upset. She did bring it back to the beach eventually, but she wouldn't talk to anyone for days. When she did get over it, it was almost like it never happened. You laughed, thinking back to that time. Elizabeth had always been stubborn, but when she was younger, she forgot grudges quickly. Now it wasn't so easy. Cove had been quiet for most of the story. Apart from the reveal of the lizard, he had a thoughtful look on his face. I can't even imagine what it'd be like to have a sibling. He gave serious thought to his statement before he told him. It's fun. There are ups and downs. You're lucky to be the only child. It's a nice idea in general, but my sister is Elizabeth. I don't know how to explain what it's like. There are ups and downs to it. It's fun to have her there when she wants to be there, but now Elizabeth barely feels like hanging out with me. Cove pursed his lip at the words, considering them quietly for a while. That's interesting. I think your family's cool. He didn't have much else to say, though while on the topic of your family, you consider your relationship with your moms too. They were the absolutely the best. You got along with your moms. You thought your moms were okay. You found your moms to be difficult to deal with. No, they're the absolute best. You couldn't even consider having another opinion. Sorry, I would say option. You couldn't have better parents. Well, say what you want about them, but at least your mom's never tried to pay someone to be your friend. The thought prompted you to look over at Cove. He probably still didn't know what happened. You doubted that Mr. Horner mentioned it and you never had. You wonder if you should tell him. It was a long time ago, but you were keeping a secret from Cove. I can finally tell him. You didn't tell him it was a bad time. You didn't tell him you weren't sure how to react. You didn't tell him secrets were meant to be kept. I can't tell him? Oh, okay, I was saying. You didn't tell him, you just didn't want to have that talk with Cove. You decided to tell him. Yo, let's just tell him. Fuck it. I waited for this moment. I don't know if it's gonna end well though. The sad music happening, I don't think it's gonna end well. You took a deep breath, steadying breath to prepare yourself for the conversation. Now you just had to figure out how to tell him. Yo, is this gonna fuck us up? I hope not. Cove, I have something important to tell you. Hey, you want to know something crazy? Please don't get mad about this, but if you start off with like, please don't get mad, they're gonna get mad. Hey, you wanna know something crazy? Cove, I have something important to tell you. Cove's head cocked to the side at your serious tone. He turned to give you his full attention. What is it? You stared into his bright ocean eyes. Chickened out, never mind. No, what the? No, I waited for this moment. This happened back when you moved here. It was the first time I met your dad. There's not really any other way to say it, so he offered me $20 to be friends with you. Cove sat still. Uncharacteristically, there was an unreadable expression on his face. His eyes seemed to look through you, and you didn't know what to do next. Then, without a word, Cove stood up. Wait! This is not. No, wait. Let me explain. Cove stood up from his bed in a single motion. He just bolted right out of the room. For a moment, you didn't move a muscle. You were in shock. This was. Oh no. You know what? Fuck it. Whatever. Your senses quickly came back. You shot out into the hall after him. Cove! There was no response to your call. Dude, I wasn't done talking. I didn't take the money. I wanted to be your friend genuinely. I wanted to say that. You could see Cove down the way. He had already sprinted back to the living room. His arms were stocked at his side with his hands balled into tight fists. He might not have been facing you, but you didn't need to see his face to know how he felt. Cove was furious. His parents were nearly finished setting the table. They greeted him, none the wiser of what was about to happen. Huh? Hey, what's up? When did you start running in the house? Are you that famished? No. Please have a happy ending. I really wanted to tell him I didn't take the money and that I wanted to genuinely be his friend, but he ran away. You were able to catch up in full and stand near Cove. The parents' words didn't even register in his ears. Their child was wholly focused on another matter. He was practically shaking. Cove took one more step forward and glared up at his father's face. You pay me, Chico, to be friends. Mr. Holden froze. He looked like a headless deer caught in the headlights. Seriously? Clifford, are you serious? I didn't take the money! He whipped his head towards Kyra, his eyes wide and blinking rapidly. It was only one time. Shouldn't have been at a time at all. But please, I did not take the money. The admission elicited an what? I don't know what that is. Something expression from his ex-wife. Mr. Holden raised his hands up to gesture defensively. It seemed like a good idea when it happened. It sounds so horrible. She covered her eyes with one hand. It was clear that her patience was frayed, but she was not so shocked anymore. Mr. Holden bowed his head, rubbing the back of his neck guiltily. The fact that she accepted this as something he'd do so easily seemed to be the most crushing part. Cove just stood there, fuming silently during their little aside. His eyebrows furrowed painfully and his eyes trembled. You felt so bad for Cole, you felt bad for Mr. Holden, you felt bad for Kyra, you felt so bad for yourself, you felt so bad for everybody. You thought this was uncomfortable? I didn't. Come on. Please let me. Cove, you didn't even let me finish my story. You thought this was uncomfortable. Try not to get in the way. Maybe that way the others would forget you. Or even in the room. They were pretty distracted. Finally, after what felt like an eternity but must have been only minutes, the tense silence was broken by Cove. I don't want to stay here. Wait, is he gonna be mad at me too? That immediately caught his parents' attention. They turned to him with twin expressions of worry. Hey, wait a minute, bud. You don't have to do that. It's all right. There's still your room. We'll stay out of your way, I promise. Where could you go at this time of day? It's almost night. I can stay with me. Oh, okay. He's not mad at me. He's mad at his dad. But please don't be mad at your dad because, like, he didn't know any better. I can stay with Michiko. He stormed out of the house. Okay, I don't know if this is good or not, but I had to tell him eventually, guys. He stormed out of the room without waiting for another response. She jumped as the door slammed closed behind him. Follow after him. You didn't even take the time to say something to his stunned parents. You ran after Cove, shutting the door more softly behind you as you left. You spotted him easily. Cove hadn't made it far. He just reached the middle of the road. Could you stop for a second? I have something to say. I'm gonna be mean now, okay? I'm gonna be a little stern with you. You might as well have said nothing. Cove didn't look back, nor did he answer you. Okay, Cove. Listen here. You're gonna stay at my place. You need to listen for a second. Cove stomped forward, going across the street without hesitance towards your house. It didn't take long to approach the front door. You left it unlocked, so he yanked it wow. Okay. Welcome home, I guess. So he yanked it open and went inside with you. By then, night fully came. The two of you stood tensely together in the middle of your living room. The night really hadn't gone as you imagined it would. At least Elizabeth wasn't around. Your moms were out. You had no idea how you would have explained the situation to them, and you were sure Cove wouldn't have been up for that. He watched you from a distance. His expression wasn't hostile, but was not exactly welcoming either. Alright, are you now mad at me? Can I please explain myself? Are you really okay? Are you okay? What do you want to do now? I'm really sorry, Cove. You did the right thing by leaving. Do you want to be doing this? You said nothing. Listen here, I don't like any of these choices. I want to explain further. You did not do the right thing by leaving. I'm not sorry because you didn't let me finish. Obviously, he's not okay. I don't know, fam. Cove shifted so his back was to you. Then he Okay, mister. Then he crossed his arms over his chest. Are you mad at me? To your surprise, he actually responded. What? No. Then what are you doing?
It's okay.
I wish I knew before, but I guess there was never really a good time to bring up something like that. Technically, there was a time I could have done it, but I didn't want to yet, so... You're not the one who did anything. If someone's clipped in insulting, though it was now fully clear that none of the negativity was towards you. And we're actually friends, aren't we? Besides, it's not like it worked. We only really became friends way later. It doesn't matter if you took it or not. Oh. You nodded your head fiercely at that. If there was one thing you didn't want this revelation to do, it was weaken your relationship. Of course we're friends. Cove seemed to appreciate reassurance. The furrow in his brows eased a little. Yeah, we are. I'm definitely not mad at you. You sure? I should thank you for not letting him get to you and for telling me it happened. My dad never would have. He's always like that. He just does things. He doesn't ask or tell me about it or anything. Go through his arms out. His features twisted in frustration. There already was the thing with my mom coming to stay with us for the summer out of nowhere, and that was supposed to be a surprise. I'd find out about. Who knows what other things he's done that I've never heard of. Does he even know how to think about what someone else might actually want? He paused to take a panting breath, scowling. You continued to listen quietly. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. You're right, that's terrible. It could have been worse. Even if it didn't go well, your dad's only trying to make you happy. But then Cove's gonna be like, you're not on my side, you're on my dad's side. Just let him rant, you know? Uninterrupted by you, Cove went on with his spiel. The worst part is, I know he doesn't do stuff for himself. He does things because he wants to make people happy. Okay, he does know. Okay. Aw, Cove, are you crying? Cove blinked rapidly. You noticed tears were gathering in his eyes. When he spoke again, his voice was heavy with emotion. But he just makes everything worse, and then he's really sorry, and it's like, it's your fault for not being happy that he was at least trying. And what if all his plans and always being so pushy did change things? What things? Cove finally met your gaze, his bottom trembling. You realized that he was referring to you and him. Wait, what? What if what he did made you stay away from me before we even got to know each other? Oh! You're... Damn. I'm so grateful for you. What the fuck? His voice cracked oh my god, his tears! He's crying so much. His voice cracked as he forced himself to speak through the tears that began to fall in earnest. He did everything he could say it, but the words were barely a whisper.
Ichiko.
Fuck. You're the best thing about coming here. Oh my god! Ko was honestly terrified over the idea that there was a chance the two of you might not have what you do. You stepped forward and rested a hand on his shoulder. You hugged him. Wait, I could wipe his tears. Wait, can I hug? Wait, should I hug? But fuck. I always go for the hug, but like I could wipe his tears away. Fuck. Fuck. What should I do? Which one is more romantic, guys? I feel like working in Sears is more romantic. Oh, but personal touch. Well, both is personal touch, but fuck it, hug him, hug him. Cove readily accepted the embrace. He wrapped his arms around you in return. The grip was firm. I'm really glad we got to be friends. Please don't cry. Hey, don't worry about it, alright? You didn't need to say anything. I wouldn't have let anything, your dad or anyone else, did mess things up. Wait, what? I guess I'm saying, like, I won't let anyone come between us. So let's do that one. Oh! His face just crumbled at your words, more tears starting to fall down his cheeks, but he suddenly blinked them away. You remained like that for just a little while. Then he scrubbed his eyes with the back of his one hand. Back with one hand, his gaze turned away from you, growing you distant. He's like that with my mom, too. The anger he had begun to release bubbled back to the surface. Dad wants to make people happy, but he doesn't. The words landed scathingly hard. You were certain it'd crush Mr. Holden if you heard them. You'd never known much about his parents' relationship, but you thought you'd understand. You understand it a bit better now. Really sorry, you don't actually mean what you're saying. Do you hate your dad? I'm here for you. You felt bad that things were so hard for Cove and his dad. I felt bad. I felt bad, or I'm here for you. Because he shouldn't talk about his dad like that. Shit. He knows I'm here for him, right? I don't have to verbally say it. You feel bad. I feel bad. Cove just looked at the ground. As the two of you were stifled by the quiet, a thought came to your mind, abrupt and sudden. I remember that day when it happened. What happened? Remember what day? What about your fish? What about your fish, dude? I remember that day when it happened. I want to know what day she's talking about. You ran to the hills behind the house, and Mr. Holden waited for you to come back while my mom's checked the park for you. That was when I met you for the first time, after he talked to me about you. Cove lifted... Okay, wait, we should do this option, because, you know, Cove told us about him seeing our parents for the first time, you know? Cove lifted his eyes just enough to see you, his head remained low. I remember, too, when we first moved to Sunset Bird, I felt like I lost my whole life. Maybe that's why he wanted to help you start your life here so much. His eyebrows scrunched up, and he seemed on the verge of tears once more. It was obvious Cove didn't want to think about his dad that way, but it was hard not to right now. He must be conflicted over where to go from here. Your dad still needs to stop being so forceful, though. It might feel better than you do if you try to make up with your dad. You guys really need to learn how to communicate. I'll be on your side no matter what you do about your dad. He stayed quiet. No, I think he needs to patch things up with his dad. Cove frowned thoughtfully. He didn't say anything, but you had a feeling he was taking what you said into consideration. I'm going back home. His face was set in determination. There was no way you could tell him to do anything else, even if you wanted to, so you only nodded.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Michiko. I'm sorry about all this. Can I come with you? Yeah, why wouldn't you go? Imagine like, okay, I'm staying home now. That was too much drama. He smiled lightly. Just checking. Cove nodded and headed outside, followed behind him. Once again, the two of you made your way across the street towards his house. He didn't pause at the door. He just opened it wide and went in. Cove's parents were sitting at a table, their heads bowed in silence between them. They snapped over at the sound of the door, relieved to see Cove return. Mr. Holden stood up so suddenly his chair squealed across the floor.
Cove?
Kara got out of her chair as well, but less dramatically. How are you feeling, baby? I wanted to talk to you. His parents looked over him, their features soft. Cove instead snuck a glance at you. You're glad you could be here for him? You suddenly felt like you shouldn't be here? No, what? I'm always in his drama, so it doesn't even matter anymore. You're glad you could be here for him. You stared back solidly, hoping you could convey your support with your eyes. I have my hands here too, fam. If you need it. It must have worked because Cove stood up a bit straighter. Cove then fully faced his parents. Mr. Holden stepped forward cautiously, his expression twisting in dismay. I am so sorry. I should never have done something so stupid. It's okay. It really isn't. That was boneheaded. That was a boneheaded move if ever there was one. I was bribing an actual child when I'd never even met before that day. Cove almost cracked a smile, though he quickly regained his composure. Then it isn't, but I want things to be okay anyway.
I'm sorry.
Carter placed a hand on Mr. Holden's shoulder. Your dad doesn't believe there's something wrong with you or that you can't make your own friends. He can explain. I know why Dad did it. He wanted me to be happy, that's all. He didn't think it'd be like this. It was an accident. Kyra sighed heavily. A sad smile appeared on her lips. You're very grown up, Cove. Mr. Holden brought his hands up against his forehead and began to pace around the room. He didn't seem to know what to do with himself. He turned back around and faced Cove and Kyra. He looked more solemn than you'd ever seen him. I'm not going to do it again. I haven't done it again. Haven't tried to bribe more people, or haven't continued to step over a line without registering it. Both. He let out a heavy breath before shrinking down a little. It was impressive because he was pretty tall.
I'm trying.
I don't know, but I don't think so. Cove's throat bobbed as he swallowed thickly. He looked like he was trying to gather all his courage. When he spoke up, his voice was small but firm. You invited Mom here. His dad's eyes widened. Cove was ready to have a talk he had put off before. He didn't ask me if I wanted things to be like this, with both of you together again for just a little while. Mr. Holden's hand slowly returned to his forehead. He was stunned as if someone had just hit him. I did it again. I did it again, and I didn't even notice. What's wrong with me? Why can't I just do something right? At least Cove seemed relieved that he was able to say what he felt. He knew just how long he'd been holding that in. It was quiet for a long stretch. Mr. Holden had sat down in the chair, his shoulders drooped and his head in his hands. He looked at Cove. He watched his dad and how genuinely he was struggling with what he'd been told. Cove glanced down at the ground, then looked back to his dad. I'm not angry anymore. Slowly, Mr. Holden met his son's eyes. I can try to talk to you about things and what I feel about stuff. I stopped saying that to you since everything happened. I didn't want to talk to you, but you won't have to guess if you know. Mr. Holden broke eye contact at that, shaking his head. My child shouldn't have to take care of me. You shouldn't have to make up for my shortcomings, Cove. I can fix things. I can still change. Or, you know, it's the people that always says I can still change usually don't change. Like, the high possibility of them changing is pretty slim. So hopefully Cove's dad, Clifford, can. After having something of an outburst, Mr. Holden turned his face away and spoke more guardedly. Besides, I'm used to that already. I might not get it right, but not a damn thing would happen in what's left of this family if I wasn't making the effort. It's always me. What's one more thing to manage? Dad.
I see.
You're right, Cliff, I know. But I don't think Cove wants to take care of you. He just wants to understand. And he wants his dad to understand too. That's what matters, isn't it? It was still as Mr. Holden digested what Kyra said. He stared down at his empty hands held out in front of him. When he looked at Cove again, tiny tears glimmered in the corner of his eyes. He got up and crossed the room to his son. Cove didn't move or look away as he approached. Mr. Holden set his hands on Cove's shoulder, the touch firm. He furrowed his brows. Bud, you and I are going to talk about every single thing that ever pops into our heads for the rest of your life. He shook coward. He shook Cove forward and back a bit. Tears slipped down Cove's cheeks, but he was smiling. No, I don't want that. Mr. Holden began to smile too. It trembled at the corners, but it was genuine. I'm afraid it's the only way. Kyra chuckled even as she blinked away her own tears. Mr. Holden turned towards her. You better not be thinking you can get away from this, Kyra. The same is gonna apply to you. You can't. He let go of Cove with one hand while he placed his other arm around Cove's shoulder. Then he faced Kyra.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, I can. He continued to talk as he walked in her direction, bringing Cove along with him. Aww. So cute. Then, father and son were standing in front of her. Mr. Holden put his other arm around her. Now he had both of them in his arms. If you think the ideas that I actually go with are bad, you two are going to be amazed by the thoughts I decide against all on my own. Kyra jokingly cringed at the concept. Cove smiled tearfully up at his parents. Thanks, Dad.
I'm so glad.
Thank you, son. But hey, you know what I'm thinking now? Cove, wiping his face with the back of his hand, shook his head. God, no. You're an incomprehensible maniac. Mr. Holden laughed, not disputing her words. I'm thinking we should eat that dinner I painstakingly made. It's salvageable, just gotta heat it back up. Kyra sighed in unexaggerated relief.
Can do.
That we can manage, right, Cove? Yeah. Great, we're making progress already.
Well...
Though I don't even know how I'm going to start making this up to Michiko. Carrying that secret for all this time must have been quite the burden to bear. Plus, she didn't actually get any money out of the deal. She didn't take the 20. I'm not mad about it or anything. It was a hard time for your family. Either way, I or we will work on it. Okay. Cove ducked his head and spoke towards you. There was a tiny smile on his face. Do you want to stay for dinner still? I'd love to. Mr. Holden felt like go with his family. Kyra patted him on the back with a content sigh. You're very good boys. I'm so lucky. Ko shyly rubbed his arms while Mr. Holden nervously rubbed his neck. Neither could make eye contact out of bashfulness. In that moment, they really did seem like father and son. Ko's family was nice, you thought to yourself. You were glad that you got to come over. That was a really cute dinner, and we finally got to admit to him that his dad tried to give us $20 to be his friend. I don't hate how it all unraveled. I'm really glad it is out of our chest, and now we have no more secrets besides us liking him. That's our only other secret now that we have. But that's gonna be it for today's episode. Oh my god, I think that might be the longest episode so far, 35 minutes. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.